The red recording light clicks on before the server reaches the table, and Khalil Moreau doesn't notice it. He's shaking rain from his jacket, scanning the room, checking his phone for the exit plan he promised himself he'd use if this got strange. Across the diner, 3 coworkers lean together in a booth, whispering, smiling, waiting. This was never dinner. This was a setup. Khalil slides into the vinyl booth, back straight, jaw tight, the way he learned to sit when every move gets judged. He orders coffee. He won't drink. The window rattles with traffic and rain. Forks clink. A baby cries somewhere behind him. In the other booth, phones sit angled just right. A quiet countdown starts, even if he can't hear it. Tonight was supposed to be harmless. That's what the text said. Just show up, smile, be normal. Khalil keeps his hands on the table so they won't shake. He thinks about his son waiting with a sitter, the clock ticking, the meter running on his life. He doesn't see the door yet. He feels it. The coworkers exchange looks. One taps the screen. Another checks the time. They're waiting for the punchline. The moment he realizes he's been played. The plan is simple. Watch him flinch. Watch him leave. Watch the comments roll in later, laughing at a man who showed up alone. Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Be honest, have you eaten today? What did you have? Tell me that. Your location. And the time. And if you're new, help me prove something wrong. My mother said drill stories would never reach 10,000 subscribers, but stories like this deserve to be heard. So don't leave without subscribing. It feels empty when you come in and leave without saying a word. Now, let's continue. The bell over the door rings. Conversations dip. Khalil looks up as if pulled by a string. The room shifts, chairs scraping, eyes tracking one point. Someone steps inside, framed by wet glass and streetlight glare. The coworkers lean forward together. This is the moment they paid for. She pauses just inside, breath shallow, one hand on the door, the other resting low on her stomach. The curve is clear. There's no hiding it. A fork clatters. Khalil's mouth opens, then closes. The plan cracks. Right there. Because this isn't funny. This isn't safe. The coworkers freeze, smile stuck halfway, phones still raised. Khalil stands without thinking, chair scraping loud, too loud. The woman meets his eyes, searching, braced for judgment. Rain drums harder outside. The server hesitates. Time stretches. Khalil breathes in coffee and grease and ozone from wet coats. He doesn't know her name. He doesn't know why she's here. He only knows everyone is watching. And then she speaks. Soft but steady. Words meant only for him. Words that turn the night on its side. Before we go on, tell the truth in the comments. Would you have stayed or walked out? And where are you listening from right now? Because what she says next forces a choice that can't be taken back. The room waits with him, breath held, as the door closes behind her and the camera keeps recording, promising consequences no one in that booth can escape when the truth finally lands on this table tonight. Khalil's chair is still half pulled out when the pregnant woman steps closer, and the space between them feels louder than the whole diner. She doesn't sit yet. One palm stays on her belly, the other grips her umbrella. Her eyes flick to the booth across the room where 3 phones glow. Are they filming? She asks, voice low. Khalil follows her glance and sees it clearly now. Screens angled, thumbs ready, faces lit with mean excitement. His throat goes dry. He turns back to her. I didn't know about any camera. She gives a short breath. That's what they told me you'd say. The server drops 2 waters and rushes off. Forks scrape. The rain taps the window like a timer. Quick question, have you ever walked into a place and felt judged before you even spoke? Tell the truth in the comments. Because that's the air Khalil is breathing right now. The woman slides into the booth, slow and careful, like her body is guarding a secret. She smells like clean soap and wet wool. She folds her hands on the table and locks eyes with him. My name is Naya Kendricks, she says. And I wasn't supposed to be here for dinner. I was supposed to be proof. Khalil's fingers curl around the table edge. Proof of what? Naya's jaw tightens. that you're like every other man who smiles until the hard part shows up. A laugh pops from another table. Khalil feels heat climb his neck, not from guilt, but from being placed inside a story he didn't write. I didn't ask for this, he says. Naya nods once. Neither did I. She turns her phone toward him, a bright text from a contact saved, as Marlene fills the screen. The last line makes Khalil's stomach twist. Don't mention the baby until he's already sitting down. We need his real reaction. Across the diner, the coworkers sit up straighter, like they can feel the moment land. One of them lifts a drink in a tiny toast. Khalil leans closer. Why would you agree to that? Naya's eyes shine, but she doesn't blink. Because I'm tired, she says. Because rent doesn't care that I'm tired. Because people keep smiling at me like I'm a lesson. Her palm presses to her belly again. And because Marlene said you'd be safe. She said you were desperate enough to be kind. Khalil flinches at desperate. His hand slides to his own phone, checking the time. The sitter is counting minutes. His son will ask why he's late. Naya watches him. You can leave, she says. That's what they want. A clean clip. You standing up, me sitting here alone. Khalil glances at that booth hungry, recording, waiting for the exit. He sits back down. In the other booth, someone whispers, he stayed. Another finger taps record. Khalil hears his heartbeat in his ears. Loud tonight. The vinyl squeaks. Naya's shoulders loosen just a little. Khalil keeps his voice quiet. I'm not your proof, he says. And you're not their joke. Nya holds his gaze and says nothing. The silence is so thick Khalil can hear the rain slide down the glass. Then she leans in, close enough that her words won't travel, and she drops the sentence like a match. The father of this baby, she whispers, can't ever find out I'm here. Khalil's eyes widen. His pulse kicks hard. Across the room, the phones keep recording. Naya's words hang between them, sharp and unfinished. And Khalil doesn't answer right away. He doesn't lean back. He doesn't lean in. He just sits there, hands flat on the table, like he's afraid the wrong move might set something off. Outside, a car splashes through a puddle. Inside, a fork drops. Someone coughs. Life keeps going, while this moment locks in place. Why? Khalil finally asks. Naya exhales through her nose. Slow, controlled. Because if he finds me, everything breaks. She doesn't explain who he is. She doesn't have to. The way she says it tells enough. Khalil glances, without meaning to, toward the booth again. The coworkers are quieter now, watching harder. One of them nudges another, eyes glued to the screen. They're waiting for fear, for drama, for him to mess up. Naya notices his glance and gives a tired smile. They're enjoying this. Khalil nods once. Yeah. The server comes back, asks if they're ready to order. Naya shakes her head. Khalil orders grilled cheese and soup without thinking. The same thing he orders when he's worn down and trying to keep it simple. Naya raises an eyebrow, almost amused. Safe choice, she says. He shrugs. I don't gamble much. That earns a real smile this time. Small, careful, gone almost as soon as it shows. Minutes pass. The soup steams. Khalil watches Naya's hands. They're steady now, but there's tension in her shoulders, like she's holding herself together, piece by piece. She notices him watching and speaks before he can ask. I've been on 17 blind dates, she says. 17. Most of them end before the food comes. Why keep going? Khalil asks. Naya looks down at the table. Because people keep telling you not to give up, and you start to wonder if giving up is the real failure. Khalil swallows. That line hits closer than he wants it to. He shifts in his seat. His phone buzzes. He flips it over without looking, but Naya sees the screen light up with the sitter's name. Her eyes soften. You have a kid, she says. Not a question. Yeah, Khalil says. A boy. Naya nods. Like that matters. Like it changes the math. Across the diner, one of the coworkers frowns. Another types fast. Khalil doesn't see the message, But the tone in that booth changes. Less playful. More sharp. Naya notices too. They're mad, she says. Why? Because you didn't follow the script. Khalil lets out a short breath. Story of my life. The food arrives. Khalil stirs the soup but doesn't eat. Nya picks at her sandwich. Slow. Thoughtful. You still don't have to stay, she says quietly. You've already messed up their night. Khalil looks at her. Really looks at her. The way she sits straight, even when she's tired. The way she keeps her voice calm, even when her hands shake. I'm not staying for them, he says. Naya studies his face, like she's trying to catch a lie before it moves. Whatever she sees makes her nod. The rain outside eases. The diner feels warmer. For a moment, it almost feels normal. Then Khalil's phone buzzes again. He checks it this time. A text from Marlene. You're doing great. Don't forget why you're there. Khalil's jaw tightens. He turns the phone so Nya can see. Her smile vanishes. They told you it was harmless, she says. Didn't they? Yeah, Khalil says. Naya leans back, her chair creaking. That's how they always do it. Across the room, one of the coworkers stands up. Phone still recording, like they're about to get closer, like they're done waiting. Khalil sets his phone down and looks at Naya. I think they're about to cross a line. Naya presses her lips together, eyes flicking to the aisle. Then you should know something else, she says, her voice dropping. Something they don't. Khalil leans in as she speaks the next words, unaware that this one secret is about to flip the whole night, and the people filming are already too close to stop what's coming. Naya doesn't get to finish the sentence. A chair scrapes hard against the floor, loud enough to cut through the diner's noise. One of the coworkers, tall, stiff-backed, grin already loaded, steps into the aisle with his phone held chest high. The red dot on the screen is bright. Close now. Too close. Hey, Khalil, the man says, voice smooth, almost friendly. Just wanted to check in. Everything going okay over here? Khalil doesn't answer right away. He looks at the phone. Then he looks at Nya. Her shoulders lock. Her hand slides fully over her stomach now. Not gentle, more protective. We're fine, Khalil says. The man chuckles. Good, because this is actually going better than we thought. The word this lands wrong. Naya's eyes flick between them. What is this? She asks. The man turns the phone slightly so the screen catches her face. Her image stares back at her, live. Her breath catches. It's just a little test, he says. Office thing. Don't worry about it. Khalil stands. The booth rattles behind him. Turn it off. The man keeps smiling. Relax. You're doing great. People love this kind of honesty. Naya's chair shifts as she pushes back. Slow but unsteady. You didn't tell me I'd be filmed. The man shrugs. You signed the release. I signed a form for a dinner voucher. She snaps. Her voice rises now, cracks the room open. Nearby tables go quiet. Across the diner, the other coworkers sit frozen, eyes wide. Someone mouths, "Stop." No one moves. Khalil steps between Naya and the phone. This ends now. The man's smile fades. Careful, you don't want to look bad. Khalil laughs once, short and sharp. That ship sailed when you brought a camera into her face. The man hesitates. Just a beat. Then he lowers the phone, annoyed. Fine. Whatever. Guess the joke's over. Naya's breathing is fast now. She grips the table edge, knuckles pale. Khalil turns to her. You okay? She nods, but it's not convincing. Her lips part like she's about to say something else, something important, but then her face tightens. Pain flashes across her eyes. She bends forward, one hand on the table, the other pressing hard against her belly. No, she whispers. No, no, no. The word drops heavy. The man with the phone steps back. Is this part of it? Khalil snaps his head toward him. Get help! Naya's breath comes shallow. A low sound escapes her throat. The diner erupts into movement chairs, scraping, voices overlapping. Someone shouts for a manager. Another person pulls out a phone, not filming this time, calling for help. Khalil crouches in front of Naya. eyes level with hers. "Stay with me," he says. "Look at me." Her eyes meet his, glassy, scared. "I told you," she gasps. "If he finds out." She doesn't finish. Her grip tightens on his sleeve. Sirens wail somewhere far off, then closer. The co-workers are gone now, slipping out the door, heads down, phones hidden. The red light disappears. Khalil stays. He doesn't think about the sitter, or the cameras, or what this will cost him later. Naya's hand is shaking in his. Her next words come out broken, rushed, urgent. "The father, the real story. You don't know who he is," she says. "And if this gets out," her breath stutters. The sirens scream right outside now. Khalil looks up as paramedics push through the door, stretchers rolling in, rain rushing behind them. The stretcher bangs against the doorframe as the paramedics rush in, rain spilling across the tile. One of them drops to Naya's side immediately, voice calm, fast, practiced. Another turns to Khalil. "Sir, step back." Khalil moves, but doesn't let go of Naya's hand until the last second. Her fingers cling to his, slick with sweat, then slip free as they lift her onto the stretcher. Her face twists, teeth clenched, breath coming in short bursts that scare him more than the pain itself. "I didn't plan this," she says, looking at him, not the paramedics. "I swear." "I know," Khalil says, even though he doesn't know anything anymore. A crowd presses in, phones up again. Different faces this time. Strangers, witnesses. The manager yells for space. Someone says pregnant. Someone else says, "That's her." Khalil feels heat crawl up his neck. This is exactly what Naya said couldn't happen. The stretcher starts moving. Khalil follows without thinking. "Sir, are you family?" a paramedic asks. Khalil hesitates. 1 second too long. "I'm with her." Naya turns her head. "Don't let them talk to him," she says, voice thin but sharp. "Please." "To who?" Khalil asks. Naya squeezes her eyes shut. Like the words hurt to hold. "The man they think is the father." The doors burst open. Cold air hits Khalil's face. Sirens scream close now, loud enough to shake his chest. Outside, blue and red lights paint the wet pavement. The co-workers are nowhere in sight. They load Naya into the ambulance. One paramedic climbs in. Another blocks Khalil with an arm. "You riding?" Khalil thinks of the sitter. The missed calls piling up. His son asleep or waiting. He thinks of walking away. Clean. Right now. Naya's eyes find his again. "If you leave," she says, "they'll spin this however they want." Khalil steps up into the ambulance. The doors slam. The world narrows to white walls, straps, the steady beep of a monitor. Naya grips the edge of the gurney, breathing through another wave. Khalil sits on the narrow bench, knees touching hers. "They said this was just dinner," Naya says, staring at the ceiling. "They said you'd run." Khalil shakes his head. "They were wrong." The ambulance jolts forward. Naya winces, then lets out a broken laugh that turns into a sob. "Everyone's always wrong about me." Khalil doesn't answer. He watches the numbers on the monitor, listens to the paramedic call out readings. His phone buzzes again. He ignores it. Naya turns her head toward him. "You need to know something before we get there." Khalil leans closer. The siren wails over her words, but he catches them anyway. "The man they think is the father," she says, "he's not. And if he hears about this, he'll come." Khalil's chest tightens. "Why would that matter?" Naya swallows. "Because he's dangerous. And because the real father is dead." The words land hard. Khalil sits back, stunned. Dead doesn't fit with anything he pictured. Dead means no closure. Dead means no one to call. The paramedic glances up, curious but silent. Naya turns her face away, tears slipping into her hair. "I didn't want anyone to know," she says. "Especially not like this." The ambulance slows, then stops. Doors open. Bright lights flood in. Hospital voices overlap. A nurse asks questions. Nya is wheeled out fast. Khalil jumps down and follows until a hand stops him again. "Sir, wait here." Naya looks back over her shoulder as they push her through the doors. Her voice reaches him one last time, urgent and low. "If he shows up," she says, "don't tell him anything. Not my name, not the baby, nothing." The doors swing shut between them. Khalil stands alone in the hallway, sirens fading behind him, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. His phone finally stops buzzing and starts ringing. Unknown number. He stares at the screen as it rings again. If you want to know who's calling and what it means, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. And tell us in the comments, would you answer that call or let it go to voicemail? The phone stops ringing just as Khalil lifts it to his ear. The silence that follows is worse. It hums in his head while the hospital hallway smells like bleach and burned coffee. Nurses rush past him without looking. A TV mounted in the corner murmurs late-night news. No one is watching. Khalil slips the phone into his pocket without calling back. A nurse finally approaches, clipboard tight against her chest. "Are you family?" Khalil opens his mouth, then closes it. "I'm with her." The nurse studies him for a second, deciding how much to say. "She's stable for now. We're running tests. Stress can cause false labor." Khalil nods. Stable sounds good. For now, sounds dangerous. He sinks into a plastic chair, elbows on knees, hands clasped. His leg bounces, fast and out of rhythm. Around him, people wait with flowers, balloons, bags packed for happy reasons. He feels out of place, like he wandered into the wrong story. Minutes drag. Then more. A doctor appears. Older, calm, eyes sharp but not cold. "You're Khalil?" He stiffens. "Yes. She asked for you," the doctor says. "But first, there's something you should understand." Khalil stands. They walk down a quieter hall. The lights are dimmer here. The air feels heavier. "She told us some history," the doctor says. "About the pregnancy. About the father." Khalil's jaw tightens. "She said he's dead." The doctor nods. "Killed in a hit-and-run last winter. No arrest. No family willing to claim the child. She's been carrying this alone." The words settle slowly, like dust after a crash. Khalil leans against the wall, breath shallow. "So who's the man she's afraid of?" he asks. The doctor pauses. "An ex who decided to step in once money was mentioned. He isn't on the birth certificate. Legally, he has no standing. But people like that don't always care about paper." Khalil thinks of the unknown number. His phone feels heavier in his pocket now. "She didn't want to be found," the doctor continues. "Not tonight. Not like this." They stop outside a door. The doctor lowers his voice. "She asked me to tell you something. She said you'd understand." The door opens. Naya lies propped up in the bed, pale, tired, but awake. Machines beep steady and calm. Her eyes lift when she sees Khalil, and something in her face eases. "You stayed," she says. Khalil steps closer. "I said I would." She swallows. "I didn't plan to tell you any of this tonight." "I know." Naya turns her head toward the window. The city glows faint beyond the glass. "I didn't lie to you," she says. "I just didn't tell you everything." Khalil nods. "That's not the same thing." She lets out a shaky breath. "The man they think is the father, he wanted the money, the attention, not the child." Her hand drifts to her stomach. This baby belongs to someone who would have stayed, someone who can't. Khalil feels his chest tighten, not from fear this time, but from recognition. Naya looks back at him. "If those videos get out," she says, "he'll use them. He'll say whatever he needs to." Khalil thinks of the coworkers, the phones, the red light. "I won't let that happen," he says, surprising himself with how sure it sounds. Nia studies him. "Why?" Before Khalil can answer, raised voices echo from the end of the hall. "Fast footsteps," a nurse calls out. Tense. Naya's eyes widen. "That's him," she whispers. "He shouldn't know I'm here." Khalil turns toward the sound, as a man's voice cuts through the hallway, demanding, loud, angry. The man's voice grows louder with every step, sharp enough to slice through the hallway noise. Khalil doesn't see him yet, but he hears entitlement in the tone, the kind that assumes doors will open just because he's asking. Nurses cluster near the desk. One security guard steps forward, uncertain. "I'm here for Naya Kendricks," the man snaps. "Don't play games with me." Naya's breath stutters. Her hand tightens around the blanket. Khalil steps closer to the bed without thinking, placing himself between her and the door. His shoulders square. His jaw sets. The man rounds the corner. He's tall, well-dressed, eyes hard, confidence loud. He scans the room, lands on Naya, then locks onto Khalil like he's a problem to remove. "There you are," the man says to Naya. "You really thought you could disappear?" Nya doesn't answer. "Who's this?" the man asks, nodding toward Khalil. "Another story?" Khalil doesn't raise his voice. "You need to leave." The man laughs. "You don't get to tell me that." A nurse steps in. "Sir, visiting hours?" "I'm the father," the man says, cutting her off. Naya finally speaks. "No, you're not." The room stills. Even the machines seem quieter. The man's smile slips. "Watch what you say." Khalil feels the weight of the moment settle. This is the line Naya warned about. He takes a breath. "You don't have a right to be here." The man steps closer. Too close. "You don't know what you're talking about." Security moves in now, firmer. "Sir, we're going to need you to step back." The man's eyes flick to them, then back to Naya. "You think this ends here?" he says. "There are videos. People talking." Khalil answers before Naya can. "Those videos show exactly who you are." The man scoffs. "And who's going to believe you?" Khalil meets his stare. "Enough people." The guard takes the man by the arm. He resists, just enough to make a point, then lets himself be pulled away, eyes never leaving Naya. "This isn't over," he says as he's led down the hall. The door clicks shut behind him. Naya exhales, long and shaking. Khalil doesn't move until her shoulders drop. "You didn't have to do that," she says. Khalil shakes his head. "Yeah, I did." A hospital administrator enters, calm but serious. "There's something else," she says. "We've been contacted about footage taken earlier tonight. HR from your workplace." She looks at Khalil. "And legal. It's escalating." Khalil nods. He expected this. The price is coming due. Naya looks at him. Fear and hope mixed together. "If this hurts you," Khalil cuts her off gently. "Some things are worth the cost." Outside the room, voices rise again. This time not angry, curious. Phones buzzing. News travels fast. Khalil knows one thing for sure now. Walking away would have been easier. Standing here will change everything. Morning light slides through the hospital window, pale and quiet, the kind that makes everything feel exposed. Khalil stands by the bed, arms crossed, watching Nia sleep. The machines hum low. The chaos from last night feels far away, like it happened to someone else. A nurse steps in and nods. She did good overnight. Khalil lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Later, after the paperwork and the questions and the looks, Khalil walks out of the hospital into air that smells clean for the first time in hours. He checks his phone. Too many missed calls. One voicemail from the sitter. He listens, shoulders dropping with relief when he hears his son's name. Hears that everything is okay. That evening, Khalil picks up his son, Zaire. The boy runs into his arms, backpack bouncing, questions spilling out fast. Khalil listens, nods, answers what he can. He doesn't mention the hospital. Not yet. Days pass. News moves quicker than Khalil expects. At work, people avoid eye contact. Others nod at him with a new kind of respect. HR sends emails full of careful words. The co-workers from the diner don't look so confident anymore. One of them doesn't come back after Friday. Khalil keeps his head down. He gets Zaire to school. He cooks dinner. He sits at the table helping with homework, while his phone buzzes on the counter. Naya texts once. Just 3 words. "I'm home now." Khalil stares at the message for a long moment before replying. "Good. Take it easy." They don't talk about what happened. Not yet. A week later, Khalil finds himself at a small community center, picking up donated books for Zair's class. The place smells like old paper and cleaner. Kids laugh somewhere down the hall. "Excuse me," a familiar voice says. Khalil turns. Naya stands a few steps away, coat zipped, one hand resting low on her belly. She looks tired. Stronger, too. "I didn't know you came here," Khalil says. "I volunteer sometimes," Naya replies. "Keeps my mind busy." They stand there, unsure. The space between them careful. Zair tugs on Khalil's sleeve. "Dad, who's that?" Khalil opens his mouth, then stops. Naya crouches slowly to Zair's level. "Hi," she says, smiling. "I'm Naya." Zair looks at her belly, then up at her face. "Is there a baby in there?" Naya laughs softly. "Yeah, there is." Zair thinks for a second. "Babies cry a lot," he says, serious. "That's true," Nia says. But they laugh too. Khalil watches the exchange, something tight in his chest loosening. Zair looks back at his dad. "Can she come over sometime?" Khalil freezes. Naya straightens, eyes lifting to his, waiting. Not pushing, just waiting. Before Khalil can answer, his phone buzzes again. A new message from an unknown number. "We need to talk." Khalil's thumb hovers over the screen as the moment stretches. Khalil doesn't answer the message right away. He pockets the phone and kneels to Zair, straightening the boy's jacket like he needs a reason to pause. The hallway smells like paper and cleaner. Kids laugh somewhere behind them. Normal life keeps pushing forward. "We're heading home," Khalil says to Zair. "Say goodbye." Zair waves. "Bye, Naya." Naya lifts a hand, smiles soft. "Bye, Zair." They walk out together, the door shutting with a quiet thump that feels louder than it should. Outside, the air is cold and bright. Khalil buckles Zair into the car, closes the door, then stands there a second longer, hands on the roof, breathing. Naya waits a few steps away. She doesn't ask about the phone. She doesn't ask about the message. She watches him like she already knows the weight of choosing. "That was him," Khalil says. Naya nods once. "I figured. He wants to talk." She exhales. They always do. Khalil looks toward the street, then back at her. "I won't bring him to you. I won't tell him where you are." "I know," she says. "That's not why he's calling." Khalil meets her eyes. "What is it then?" Naya's voice stays steady. Control and fear. Khalil nods. He's felt both before. He feels them now. Zair taps the window. "Dad?" Khalil opens the door. "Yeah, buddy." "Are we going to be late for dinner?" Zair asks. Khalil smiles, thin but real. "No, we're right on time." He closes the door again and turns back to Naya. "I have to handle this," he says. "For him and for you." Naya steps closer. "Careful. Whatever you decide," she says. "I'm grateful you stayed." Khalil swallows. "So am I." They stand there, the space between them filled with things unsaid, possibilities, risks, hope that doesn't rush. Khalil lifts his phone and types one line. "Talk now. Public place." The reply comes fast. "Tonight, you don't get to set terms." Khalil locks the screen and looks at Naya. "Looks like I do." He gets into the car, starts the engine, pulls away. In the mirror, Naya grows smaller, then disappears. Khalil drives toward home, toward dinner, toward a conversation that could change everything he's built. If this story moved you, don't leave without subscribing and turning on notifications. Another story is coming, and you won't want to miss it. Share your thoughts in the comments. What should Khalil do when protecting his child means facing someone who won't play fair?